Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law. And for today's story, we turn our attention once again to the issue of illegal immigration, this time with respect to Mr. Garcia and his illegal immigration case that the U.S. Supreme Court referred to. So, unlike the case I said last time, I made a mistake when I talked about JGG. This is the case I was talking about with the El Salvadoran that was illegally deported. He had a valid deportation order, but there was a withholding of removal for El Salvador, and he was deported to El Salvador. That was Garcia's case, not JGG's case. I apologize for the mistake on the last case. But in any case, we previously read in our last stream a decision from the District Court of D.C. relating to contempt proceedings for the Trump administration messing around to find out. And today we have a decision from the Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit relating to the bring him back decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. We turn our attention to this decision from the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit in the ongoing case of Garcia versus Noem. And so here we'll read what what the Fourth Circuit has to say on this issue. Upon review of the government's motion, the court denies the motion for emergency stay pending appeal and writ of mandamus. The relief the government is requesting is both extraordinary and premature. While we fully respect the executive's robust assertion of its Article 2 powers, we shall not micromanage the efforts of a fine district judge in attempting to implement the Supreme Court's recent decision. So the Supreme Court had some language in there about the difference between facilitate and effectuate the decision. And exactly what the difference between those two things is still to be decided to be some degree. But they had some concern over the exact language of the lower court's decision in terms of what they were or were not requiring the administration to do. And the district court is still pondering those issues and still trying to figure out exactly what the government is doing to facilitate, whatever that might mean, the return of Mr. Garcia, or otherwise to facilitate some sort of hearing with Mr. Garcia involved. So it might not necessarily be, strictly speaking, required to return him to the United States. Maybe there's some other way that we could go about doing this. Maybe he could be taken to an embassy and have the hearing there, or maybe there's some other way to go about this. But whatever it is, the administration right now isn't really big on the facilitating, and the district court right now is not happy with the administration. And so the administration went to the Court of Appeals and be like, can you stop the mean district court from trying to implement the Supreme Court's decision? And the Court of Appeals is like, no, not so much. We're not really about that. We're going to let the district court try to figure it out and also let them ask questions about what you're trying to do to facilitate this. And if they aren't happy with it, we're going to let them take care of it. Don't come crying to us just because things aren't going exactly the way that we want, or exactly the way you might want. It's difficult in some cases to get to the very heart of the matter, but in this case, it's not hard at all. The government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without semblance of due process that's the foundation of our constitutional order. Further, it claims in essence that because it's rid itself of custody, there's nothing that can be done. This should be shocking not only to judges, but intuitive sense of liberty that Americans far removed in courthouses still hold dear. Yeah, I mean, this is a problem, because if they were to deport a U.S. citizen illegally, right, then the U.S. administration might do exactly the same thing. They might say, well, they're in a foreign prison now, there's nothing we can do. And so that presents a problem. It presents a problem that the U.S. government feels like they're able to just spirit away somebody in the dead of night and then be like, well, they're not in our hands anymore, so what do you want us to do? But it's like, you're the one who broke it. So, to some degree, you need to fix it. And if they can't be ordered to fix it in some sense, then, what is to stop them from abusing this power in even more extreme domains? Not much, right? It's like, how do we in principle stop this? And we don't know. So that's a real issue. The government asserts that Mr. Garcia is a terrorist and member of MS-13. Perhaps, but perhaps not. Regardless, he's still entitled to due process. If the government is confident in its position, it should be assured it will prevail in proceedings to terminate withholding of the removal order. Right. So, this again is like a non-issue, right? If he really is a terrorist, if he's a member of MS-13, then again, get a status changed. The status can be changed at any time. All you had to do is go to court and then show that, his status needs to be changed or deport him to some other country. That would be fine too. But you didn't do any of those things, so that's an issue. Moreover, the government has conceded that Abrego Garcia was wrongfully or mistakenly deported. Why then should we not make what was wrong right? Fair. The U.S. Supreme Court decision remains as always, our guidepost. That decision rightly requires the lower federal courts to give due regard for deference owed to the executive branch and the conduct of foreign affairs. That would allow for sensitive diplomatic negotiations to be removed from public view. It would recognize as well that the facilitation of Abrego Garcia's return leaves the executive branch with options in the execution, to which the courts, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, should execute a genuine deference. That decision strikes the balance that does not permit the lower courts to leave Article 2 by the wayside. So while they have some deference here and they have some ability in foreign relations and everything else, it doesn't necessarily give them infinite latitude. It doesn't necessarily allow them to do anything. Article 2 has its limits, just like any other article of the Constitution. And, and at the moment, the Supreme Court thinks that, this person should be at least facilitated as to his return. And so what is the administration doing relating to that? Unclear. The Supreme Court decision does not, however, allow the government to do essentially nothing. It requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and ensure that his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador. Facilitate is an active verb. It requires that steps be taken, as the Supreme Court has made perfectly clear. And then noting the Supreme Court opinion says the government should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it's taken and prospect of further steps. The plain and active meaning of the word cannot be diluted by constriction, and the government would have it to a narrow term of art. We're not bound in this context by a definition crafted by an administrative agency and contained in a mere policy directive. So the word doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. Thus, the government's argument that all it must do is remove any domestic barriers to return is not well taken in light of the Supreme Court's command that the government facilitate the return and release from custody in El Salvador. Right? I mean, the Supreme Court has already said this, right? They're required to facilitate his release and return. That requires them to do things. What does it exactly require them to do? A bit of an issue, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they're required to do doesn't necessarily mean that they're required to take every possible step, but they might be required to, for example, take best efforts. They might be required to at least, try. And they might be required to share what they're doing with the court to show that they've tried to facilitate it. They can't hide everything behind executive privilege. And so, go show us what you're doing, basically. Show us your work. Facilitation does not permit the admittedly erroneous deportation of an individual to the one country's prison that the withholding order forbids, and further to do so in disregard of a court order that the government not suddenly spurns. Again, could they have gotten the status changed? Yes. Could they have deported him somewhere else? Yes. They deported him to the one place they weren't allowed to, so they violated the law. Facilitation does not sanction the abrogation of habeas corpus through the transfer of custody to foreign detention centers in the manner attempted here. Allowing all this would facilitate foreign detention more than it would domestic return. It would reduce the rule of law to lawlessness and tarnish the very values for which Americans of diverse views and persuasions have always stood. It's also unclear the degree to which, of course, the administration has practical control as it relates to El Salvador, because as we previously discussed in prior streams, it appeared that the agreement with El Salvador was that the people were to be sent there on a temporary basis, awaiting further disposition by the United States. So it's not really clear in the first instance that if the United States asked, they wouldn't return the person if we asked. And it's not even clear that we're asking. It's not clear what steps we're taking. It's not clear that we've, said that, we'll provide a plane or, we're willing to do. It's not clear that we've said any of those things. So it's extremely unclear what the administration has done, even in facilitating his return. And that's a problem. The government is obviously frustrated and displeased with the rulings of this court. Let one thing be clear. Court rulings are not above criticism. Criticism keeps on our toes and helps us do our job better. Court rulings can overstep, and they can further intrude upon the prerogatives of other branches. Courts thus speak with knowledge of their imperfections, but also with a sense that they instill a fidelity to law that would be sorely missed in their absence. Yeah, I mean, obviously courts can overstep, including even the US Supreme Court can overstep. And then you're just basically back into the situation of like, well, maybe the Supreme Court, hypothetically, in some situation, could be the one instilling the crisis, a constitutional crisis. But just because the executive branch is defiant to the legislative branch or defiant to the judicial branch doesn't necessarily tell you who's at fault. And right now, the decisions seem to be in line with the law. I mean, the Supreme Court said 9-0 that they have to facilitate, whatever exactly that means. Unclear exactly what that means. I would presume it means it requires them to take steps. It requires them to do things. What does it require them to do? Perhaps a bit unclear. But perhaps it requires them to send a plane. Perhaps it requires them to at least ask. Perhaps it requires them to transport him back and so forth and so on. But it's not even clear they're doing any of those things. It's not clear they're doing anything to facilitate. And the word means something. Maybe they could facilitate this by, somehow hooking up a Zoom in the jail. I don't know. Maybe that would be enough. But it's not even clear what they're proposing, if anything. So right now they're just in defiance to the court order. Can courts step out of bounds? Of course they can. But at least to my mind, that hasn't happened yet. And therefore, we're setting up a fight between the executive and judicial branch that's, potentially very dangerous. Energy in the executive is to be much respected. It can recuse the government from its lassitude and recalibrate in branches too long unexamined. Knowledge that the executive energy is perishable quality understandably breeds impatience with the courts. Courts are, of course, much more methodical than the executive branch ever will be. Courts, in turn, are frequently attuned to caution and often uneasy with executive branch's breakneck pace. Yeah, one thing you can say about the courts is they tend to move a lot slower. They're a lot more careful and methodical, by almost necessity. And the differences do not end there. The executive is inherently focused upon the ends. Judiciary much more upon the means. Yeah, which maybe is why judicial appeals to me more. I'm much more of a method and rules-based guy than necessarily the end. Much more of a rule-based utilitarian, I suppose, in the end. Ends are bestowed upon the executive by electoral outcomes. Means are entrusted to all government, but most especially to judiciary by the Constitution itself. The executive possesses enormous powers to prosecute and deport, but with power also comes restraint. Power is not unlimited. If today the executive claims the right to deport without due process and in disregard of court orders, what assurance will there be tomorrow that it will not deport American citizens and disclaim responsibility? That is a really good question, right? What is to stop that in principle? What is to stop that in principle? Let alone that the Trump administration recently talked about apparently deporting homegrown terrorists, which suggests American citizens. But what is to stop this in principle? Why would it be different? Like if the Trump administration, put me onto a plane and spirited me away into the El Salvadoran jail and then be like, whoops, there's nothing we can do about it because he's in El Salvador. What is to stop that from happening? Or what's to stop? What redress do I have? Do I really have no redress at that point? That's a pretty scary scenario, right? And that's what courts think about. They don't just think about the one guy. They think about issues broader than that. They think about where does this stop and where does it end? And they're concerned about the future. They're worried about where this goes in the future. And it's a problem. And what assurance shall there be the executive will not train its broad discretionary powers upon its political enemies? That too. The threat, even if not in actuality, would always be present, and the executive obligation to take care of the laws be faithfully executed would lose its meaning. Yep. Today, both the United States and El Salvadoran governments disclaim any authority and or responsibility to return Abrego Garcia. We're told that neither government has the power to act, which doesn't really make any sense. The result will be to leave matters generally, and Abrego Garcia specifically, in an interminable limbo without recourse of law of any sort. That sounds problematic. The basic differences between the branches mandate a serious effort at mutual respect. The respect the courts must accord the executive must be reciprocated by the executive respect to the courts. Too often today, this has not been the case, as calls for impeachment of judges for a decision the executive disfavors and exhortations to disregard the court orders sadly illustrate. Yeah, I mean, you can obviously try to impeach judges, obviously, but that's political in its nature, and obviously you have to do that. And until you do that, and replace them with different judges, they're the judges that are in place. And just blatantly disregarding, the judiciary is dangerous. Because if this president can just blatantly disregard the judiciary, every president can just blatantly disregard the judiciary, and that's a real problem. That is a serious, serious problem. It is in this atmosphere that we're reminded of President Eisenhower's sage example. Putting his personal opinion aside, President Eisenhower honored his inescapable duty to enforce the Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board to desegregate schools with all deliberate speed. This great man expressed his unflagging belief that the very basis of our individual rights and freedom is the certainty the president and the executive branch of the government will support and ensure the carrying out of decisions of the federal courts. Indeed, in our late executive's own words, unless the president did so, anarchy would result. Now the branches come too close to grinding irrevocably. I guess, they're in a conflict that promises to diminish both. This is a losing proposition all around. It is. It's like we're heading for a constitutional crisis. This is the problem. We're heading headlong into a constitutional crisis. What happens if the executive just tells the judiciary to stuff it? What do we do then? And what do we do when other executives say, well, that executive did it, why can't I do it too? Why does any executive have to follow the judiciary ever? Right? What's left for the judiciary? Are we just completely neutering the judiciary? Is that what we're doing? At least when it comes to the executive branch? Why would any president ever obey the judiciary ever again? And the court is thinking about that. They're thinking about the future. It's like we're heading headlong into a real problem here, people. Yeah. The judiciary will lose much from the constant intimidations of its illegitimacy, which by dint of custom and detachment, we can only sparingly reply. The executive will lose much from a public perception of lawlessness and all its attendant congregations. The executive may succeed in a time for weakening the courts, but over time, history will script the tragic gap between what was and all that might have been, and law and time will sign its epitaph. Yeah, pretty much. Basically, that's kind of where this is going in the end. Right? In the end, there is no rule of law because no one can stop the executive. The executive does whatever they want, perhaps solely with the sole basis of impeachment being perhaps the only remedy left, because there's nothing for the judiciary to do in this domain. And so the rule of law dies as the executive refuses to obey the judiciary. So, yep, that's ultimately where this goes in the end. So that sucks. It is, as we've noted, all too possible to see this case in an incipient crisis, but may present opportunities. Well, we yet cling to the hope that it's not naive to believe our good brethren in the executive branch perceive the rule of law as vital to the American ethos. That's hoping for a lot at this point, I think. This case presents a unique chance to vindicate the value and summon the best that's within us all the time. In sum, and for the reasons foregoing, we deny the motion to stay pending appeal and writ of mandamus. It's ordered. Please go back to district court and try to play with them nicely. But yeah, the Fourth Circuit's not happy. And the Fourth Circuit already sees the future. I've seen the future. And the Fourth Circuit and I share a vision for the future. And it's an ugly future. It is an ugly future. It is an ugly future where the executive says the Supreme Court has made its decision, let them enforce it. It is an ugly future where the executive disobeys the judiciary anytime it wants, and the judiciary has no power. And the executive just enforces the law, perhaps save with Congress's impeachment power. That is an ugly, ugly future. Because if they can do it now, why can't they do it generally? What is stopping it? Not much, right? And it's like, what are we going to do here? So yeah, we're heading for a constitutional crisis. That's where this is heading. Now, maybe someone will step off the ramp. Maybe the executive branch will think better of it and find a solution. Perhaps the solution is taking him to an embassy. Maybe they can do the hearing from an embassy. Maybe they could do that. Maybe that would be satisfactory. Maybe there's some other solution to this problem. But right now, it looks like the executive isn't keen to blink. And the judiciary has no real choice but to interpret the law as best as they can see fit. And we're heading on a path that is a disaster for the judiciary and enhances the power of the executive for all executives for all of time. Because every executive would just be in the exact same position. And so, of course, in the end, it's not about Trump. In the end, it's about the presidency. Trump just happens to be the president, but it's not quite the same thing. And so, like, I'm deeply, deeply concerned about the rule of law, as I've discussed multiple times. And I'm deeply, deeply concerned that the administration is flouting the Supreme Court with respect to facilitate. They're not taking any efforts to try to effectuate or facilitate this return to the extent there's a difference. And we're heading into disaster fuel. It is sad and depressing, and I don't like it very much. Let me read some of your chats and see what you're saying in chat. Yeah, dispatch, we're heading to a constitutional crisis. Yep, we are. That's the path this is heading down. We're headed into a real problem 4 years ago when they opened the border. Just seems like an extension of the problem. It's a different problem. The problem there was the executive not doing its duty. That was a different problem. And it was a problem. It was absolutely a problem. But this is a different problem. This is the executive defying the executive not doing its job is a problem. But here they are doing it in a way that violates people's rights and violates the rule of law. And that it's a bigger problem. But at least to me, it's a bigger problem. If I could go back to time and warn Biden not to open the borders, would I do so? Of course I would. I don't believe in open borders. I've never said anything contrary to that. I believe in the rule of law universally. I don't believe in open borders. I think Biden was wrong for opening borders. I think it was a wrong thing to do. I think he was in defiance of his job. I think he was a bad president for not enforcing our borders. Yeah, I mean, of course I would have told him not to. It was a dumb thing for him to do. And it was in defiance of his law, a defiance of his rule to make sure that the law be faithfully executed. He was a bad president for defying the law. He shouldn't have done that. It was wrong. Without open borders, we wouldn't be in this mess. Well, be that as it may, we are where we are. You know, how we got here is fine and all, but what do we do about it? Right? And at least for me, I believe in rule of law. You know, I believe in rule of law. I believe in following the law. The president is to faithfully execute the law. And what that law means is what the judiciary does with its time. As was pointed out in a different case, the president has no inherent authority when it comes to the issue of immigration as such, because it's up for Congress to determine the uniform rules of immigration. So the president has no power relating to immigration but what Congress gives him inherently. And then he should enforce those laws, and his failure to do so is bad. And so the president neglecting his duty is bad. He was wrong. He was a bad president. He shouldn't have done that. But I don't think the solution to that problem is to disobey the law now. Otherwise, I'm not really quite sure what basis I have to criticize Biden. Right? What basis do I have to criticize Biden fundamentally, if not my conclusion that he failed to faithfully execute the law? He failed to do his duty as president, faithfully execute the law. The problem is exactly that he didn't follow the law. It's like, well, if I give up rule of law, then what exactly is my basis to criticize Biden at that point? Like, what do I root my criticism of Biden in if I give up rule of law? And if I'm unwilling to give up rule of law, then I have to criticize Trump for at least comparable reasons, because Trump is also defying the rule of law in a different way. Defying the rule of law is not acceptable for either president. Trump is correct to enforce our immigration law. Trump is correct to shut down the border. Trump is correct to try to deport the illegal immigrants. Trump is correct to try to, to enforce our immigration law. But he has to do it through legal means. And those means, again, are fairly cursory by comparison, but they're something. And so, and his defiance of an outstanding court order is a problem. And so, like, that's my view, right? My view is rooted in the rule of law, and my conclusion that Trump is not doing it, and he's doing it in a way that defies the judiciary. Unfortunately, the judicial branch can't command the president to enforce the law. I wish it were so. I wish we could have gone to court and got an order to force Biden to secure the border, but you can't do that, unfortunately. I wish you could. But it doesn't make Trump's defiance of the law okay, because then it's like then we don't have anything to moor ourselves to. $5 from Damian Keller. I don't see the constitutional republic surviving decades of ignorance and abuse, and I served in the U.S. Air Force. $4.99 from Alan. The Biden administration allowed 20 million criminal illegal aliens entering the country. We aren't going to remove them one at a time? Well, I don't know what the alternative is. I mean, it seems to me that at that point you're calling for some sort of process that or no process. You just want them all put on a plane and deported without due process. So I'm not quite sure how you propose to do that, either in line with the statutes relating to it or even in line with fundamental principles relating to due process. So it feels to me like if your conclusion is that we can't do this one at a time, we have to do it in a more in a more systematic way. The only way to accomplish that objective is to give up something. The only way to accomplish that objective is to give up the processes set forth in the statutes and to give up due process. And at that point, you're defying the Constitution, because the Constitution requires due process. So it's a slightly strange take, in my humble opinion. It's a slightly strange take to say, I'm so concerned about illegal immigration that I'm willing to give up part of the Constitution in order to get there. Because once you give it up, it's kind of really hard to get it back, as I'm sure you guys know. Like once a right is surrendered, it's kind of hard to get it back. So the fact that some of you guys are willing to abandon due process because you're so frustrated at the situation, and I understand the frustration, I get it. You're not happy with the fact that Biden let so many illegal immigrants through the border. I'm not happy about it either. You wish Biden hadn't done that. I wish Biden hadn't done it. But in order to effectuate my desire that they all be removed, if I'm willing to give up due process in order to do that, well, I'm not going to get due process back. And that doesn't sound like a good trade. What's more disastrous? Having millions of illegal immigrants in our country, or giving up one of our fundamental constitutional guarantees? I think giving up the constitutional guarantee might be more disastrous, but that's just me. But that's how I think about it. Let's see what else there was. The rule juror for 499. What troubles me is how frequently the executive is defying the law. Now, I'm trying to hide it. I don't hear enough people speaking out against it. It troubles me too. It's a real problem. Pierre says, I've seen a single deportation case take 8 trips in over a decade. Well, I can't speak to exactly that situation. That's not most situations. But again, like, what's the solution to that problem? I mean, maybe there is a solution to that problem in a systematic way, but I don't know necessarily what the solution to that problem is. How do you deal with that in a way that doesn't like create more problems? I don't know. 499 says from Bewildered in Texas, do you think Congress cares about rule of law or is it just a campaign slogan? Well, I don't know whether or not they care, but I care. I care about it. I care that we're a country of laws, and I care that, that we follow those laws. I care about it. So I don't know what Congress cares about, but I care. And I think you should care too. If I could be so bold to impose on you, I think you should care about rule of law because the alternatives are not great. The illegals are meant to give Dems permanent control. They're always trying to tear up the Bill of Rights, so it's lose-lose. Yeah, but you want to respond to that by also tearing up the Bill of Rights? That seems like a strange choice to me. Like the Dems are always trying to tear up the Bill of Rights, so I'm going to do it first. You know what I mean? Doesn't that seem like a bit of a problem? You can't tear up the Bill of Rights. I'm going to do it for you. You know? Yeah, the Dems may not be respecting the Bill of Rights. That's the problem, isn't it? Isn't the problem that they're trying to tear up the Bill of Rights? I thought that was the problem. And you want to respond to that by saying, let's tear up the Bill of Rights ourselves because they don't care? So you've given them what they want from your own. You think they want to tear up the Bill of Rights and you're going to give them that? That seems questionable. $2 says Kobayashi Maru. I don't think it's that bad, but thank you. 499 says, I'm okay with illegal aliens never having due process again. No one's trying to remove our rights. Well, I don't know about that. I don't think that's true. I think the government is constantly trying to remove rights. That's why we have courts all the time. I think the government is always, well, not always, but I think the government is very frequently violating people's rights. And that's why we have courts to keep them in check. So you say the government isn't trying to remove our rights? I'm like, I don't know about that one. I wouldn't be so sure. The rule juror for 499 says, hypothetical question. If a U.S. citizen was convicted of terrorism, would it be legal for them to be sentenced to a prison in another country? That wasn't, well, probably not would be my best answer, because how is that not deporting them? So how would it not be deporting them if the prison's in a different country? Yeah, so I don't think that would be legal. Probably not. But thank you for the super chat. Yeah. I mean, it's a very strange thing. It's like if I talk to you about Second Amendment rights, you guys wouldn't have a problem, right? It's like you think the Democrats are constantly trying to violate your Second Amendment rights. Isn't that the problem? Isn't that bad? Don't you want Second Amendment rights? Like this is a very weird take to me, right? So basically, what I'm hearing is basically like the equivalent of the Dems are trying to take away our Second Amendment rights, so let's take away theirs. It's like, wait a second. It's like, what is that? Wait, what? Right? It's like, wait a second. It's a very strange proposition to me. Yeah. Did I see the man removed from the MTG town hall? Didn't see that. Yeah. When Rome was invaded, they gave Cincinnatus the full power to repel the invasion. George Washington was a fan. I mean, okay. I mean, noted, I guess. Although I still don't know that this qualifies as an invasion for the most part, but noted. I'm not necessarily even opposed to systematic changes in the illegal immigration system. Like, if you want to change the rules in the statute relating to illegal immigration, or you want to change the number, if you want to change the scope of the hearings, if you want to change the rules on a more systematic level, I think that would be fine. You might need congressional action for that. So if your objection is if your objection is a little bit more like, I just don't think the process is quick enough, I need it to be quicker, I need it to be simpler, maybe without the right to appeal. The Supreme Court has never held the right to appeal as fundamental, even in criminal cases. So you could hypothetically create a bill that would create, well, it'd probably have to go to at least one court. You probably have to go to a district court, but you could probably do it where he's entitled to the immigration judge review and then entitled to a district judge review, and that would be the end of it, and no further right of appeal. You could probably do that, but you might need congressional action for that. But that's why you need to think about things in a more systematic way, because in order to get something through Congress, you need to really think about what that really would entail and what that looks like, and whether or not you're truly comfortable with that, and you're truly comfortable about it in all situations. But if your complaint is that they're afforded too much process, at least some of that is open to congressional control. So you might want to talk to your members of Congress about changing the immigration laws to afford less process. Congress can go a long way in this domain, because Congress has power under Article 1 to create the uniform rules of naturalization. So Congress, I don't know if they necessarily can do anything, but they can do a lot. So they can create rules here, and so you might need to talk to Congress about this and get them to change the law. Dark Logic said, our nation is predicated on consent of the governed. We're seeing the rescinding of that consent by all sides over conflicting core beliefs. Yeah, well, I suppose that's a possible alternative. So it's not a constitutional crisis, it's a civil war. That's good news, right? We're heading into a civil war. That's also fun and exciting. Great. I look forward to that over those issues. That's fun. I'd prefer to not do that if it's all the same to all you guys. That'd be fine. 499 from Philip Coggins. I think creative way for this end would be to call Judge Zins and give her options. Then ever order the invasion of El Salvador. Please give me a break. Tony says, Mr. Rabbit Killers asks, how much can due process need before deportation? Can bond probable cause hearing be sufficient? Yeah, as memory serves, and it's been a while since I've read some of the core immigration cases, but as memory serves, with illegal immigrants, they even talk about something less than due process. They talk about this idea of fundamental fairness in some of the cases. So they're not even really entitled to due process as such with illegal immigrants. That's how low it gets. They're actually down to something less than due process, and the courts actually give it a different name. They call it fundamental fairness. And that's how much you're entitled to. So in terms of how much you're entitled to, not much. Basically, you're entitled to notice and an opportunity to be heard. And you are basically if the government makes a case at all, basically it's basically nothing. You're less than probable cause, probably. You're somewhere less than even probable cause, probably, is where we're at for illegal immigrants. You are dirt low. You are so low on the bare minimum standards of what's permissible. you are in the dirt. So, like, in terms of how low this can go, it can go pretty low. It can go very, very low. It could be 5 minutes, right? That's how low this could go, right? It's like, oh, we think they're an illegal immigrant. Why? Like, we can't find any records of a birth certificate and anything. It's like, okay, do you have a birth certificate? Anything? No, I don't have it. Okay, fine, deport you. Next. Like, I mean, it could be that fast, maybe, right? I mean, it can get pretty absurd by comparison. So the bare minimum standards here are pretty low. If you really want to take this to the wall. After I added that cute baby G watch to my wish list, I found a book that I put there 4 years ago called The U.S. Constitution and Other Writings. Nice. Yeah, go ahead and get your baby G. I think you're going to be happy. AI immigration judge? Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. If Trump were smart, he'd take him back and deport him to Mexico. Yeah, I mean that would be like the simplest solution, right? The simplest solution to this problem is probably Trump takes him on a plane from El Salvador, lands him at the military base, like in Florida, and then walks him from one plane right onto the other plane, and then just ships him over to Mexico. I mean, that would, or Guantanamo Bay or wherever else it is, and that would solve the problem. And it's like you can just walk him right from one plane right to the other plane and deport him to a different country. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It'll be fine. What's the definition of due in the phrase due process? Well, there is no uniform definition, but it's what you're owed. What's due is what's owed. Like what is due is what's owed. So due process is owed process. So what process do I owe you? What process am I required to give you? It's due to you. It's owed to you. And so in terms of what that is, that changes a lot depending on context in a lot of different scenarios. It can also be pre-deprivation. It can also be post-deprivation. It's different for a civil proceeding than it is for a criminal proceeding. It's different for immigration. It's different for, so it's different. It's different in a lot of contexts. There's no one uniform answer to that question. What is due is what is owed, and what is owed depends on essentially the seriousness and severity of the thing is the best proxy for what is due. And if you want to know why it's a problem, we have a case now with a man in Georgia, a birth certificate that's being accused of being illegal despite proving his papers. Nice. Would AI judges be constitutional? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Constitution only contemplates people. But we can have that debate at another time. And then maybe New Mexico sends them to El Salvador? Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but that might be illegal. Yeah, possibly. But, we can debate that at a different time. $10 from Isaac. The instance that should be okay for the executive unilaterally do whatever it pleases with illegal immigrants with no process or oversight seems to miss that any citizen could be deported that way. Yeah, it's like, how do you know they're illegal at the bare minimum? Like, how do you know it's an illegal immigrant? How do you know that? Right? Someone has to make that decision. Like, how do you know they're an illegal immigrant? How do you know? Someone has to make that decision. So if it's the executive alone that gets to make that decision, well, then they can deport a U.S. citizen, at least in principle, because they're like, oh, it's an illegal immigrant because reasons, right? So otherwise, otherwise someone has to make at least the decision, at least that they're illegal. Someone has to make that decision. So, and the judicial branch is usually who makes that decision, sort of in the end. Of course, immigration judges are executive, so the executive starts with it, but those decisions can be reviewed, to see it's like, oh no, I'm not an illegal immigrant. I have a birth certificate. Yeah. what so far has happened like that? My hypothetical hasn't happened. Yeah, I understand it hasn't happened, at least yet, but like the problem is what is stopping that from happening is the thing. Judges think ahead. I think ahead. I do it all the time on my channel. You've been a long time member of this channel. You know I think ahead. I try to think ahead. I try to think about what's next. I try to think about how decisions will impact things in the future. I try to think how it will impact for this administration and other administrations. I try to think about how it will impact Democrats and Republicans alike. I try to think as best as I'm capable. I try to think about how the rule will apply in a multitude of applications, both now and in the future. But that's pretty typical thinking. So it's like it hasn't happened yet. It's like, I understand it hasn't happened yet, but like, what is preventing it from happening? How do we ensure it doesn't happen? And so like asking the question is perfectly legitimate. You see me do it in a whole bunch of other contexts. I don't know why you would think it would be unusual for me to do it here. It's pretty standard. Like what happens next is a pretty common question. So I don't know, man. That sounds like the legislature to think ahead. Nah, judicial branch thinks ahead too, because we work on a common law system. You know that. Our decisions predicate other decisions. Every decision the court makes lays down a block that might be the building block of other decisions in the future. It's the nature of our common law system because we work off precedent. So judges worry about what's going to happen next because they know that what they're doing now is going to speak into the future because we work on a precedential system. It's the nature of common law. We're still referring to decisions from 700 years ago sometimes. So it's like, yeah, what happens today is going to impact tomorrow. So judges worry a lot about what's going to happen tomorrow. They worry about where the rules start. Have you ever seen a Supreme Court decision or a Supreme Court oral argument? The Supreme Court asks these questions all the time. All the time, the Supreme Court asks these questions. Basically, what happens tomorrow? It's a constant question. They're worried about what happens. They're worried about what happens in the long term. They're worried about what's going to happen in 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. They think about these things. It's part of the role about thinking, how does the decision I make today impact tomorrow? It's a very, very common thing, man. I mean, yeah. Anas Dowler gets 5 gift memberships. 499 from Algerian News. Scott has instructed lower court to define facilitate, but how does the executive know what to do without a definition? Well, they're trying to do that, and the executive is fighting them as we speak. $5 from Dark Logic. Regarding thinking ahead, why weren't the terms issued clarifying the ruling? Is it common for the court not to speak? The Supreme Court in particular? Yeah, sometimes they do that, right? It's like, what exactly does that mean? They're going to let the lower court figure it out for a while. The Supreme Court typically does not decide more than they need to. So they kicking the can down the road, definitely a Supreme Court thing to do. Very, very common for the Supreme Court to do. Very common for them to have a more narrow decision. And then like worry about other problems another day for kind of the same reasons I've been talking about, because they're worried about what happens tomorrow. And so the Supreme Court is worried about saying more than they need to, because every word they say, they know is going to impact tomorrow. So the Supreme Court is very concerned for legitimate reasons, and they're very careful, small c conservative, because they're worried. So the Supreme Court typically doesn't say more than they need to resolve the case. Sometimes frustratingly so, but that is their want. They usually don't go beyond that. It's pretty rare. $5 from Isaac says, this is so funny concerning thinking ahead was literally today's Supreme Court concurrence. I know. I mean, again, we do it all the time. $4.99 for Philip Congens. Congress doesn't think ahead. They just pawn off their power, judicial and executive, so they have something to bitch about. Yeah, it's not necessarily clear how much Congress thinks ahead, to be quite honest. Or how I think that the courts are the most concerned about what happens next. Congress is usually just trying to solve some immediate political problem. Yeah, I'm not sure Congress necessarily is thinking about what happens next. I'm not sure they're as good about it as the judiciary, to be quite honest. I think the judiciary is more cautious about things. The Supreme Court's taking on a birthright citizenship case, are they? I didn't know that. What case did they decide to take? That's interesting. They're going to cover oral arguments on birthright next month? There's oral arguments in a birthright case next month? What case are you referring to? Give me the name of the case. I'll look it up. Maybe I missed a memo, or maybe you're thinking about something different. What's the name of the case that you are referring to? Yeah, so court few months ago thought they had the right to choose the president. Yeah, and they got whacked out. They got whacked down for that. Yeah, hearing oral arguments on birthright in May. What's the name of the case? So I can look it up real fast. Then I'll talk to you about it. Just saw the news. The headline didn't get details. If you can find the name of the case, that'd be helpful. I'd appreciate it. I'll give you a second to look it up. I'm not in a rush. Birth tourism. Okay. 10 gift memberships from Megan Farrell. Thank you. Is the Trump executive order on birthright that's being taken up? Okay. Yeah, let me take a look at it and see where we're sitting. I'm surprised that they're going to get into the merits this fast. That surprises me. Maybe I missed a memo. Yeah, it would surprise me if they're going to do merits on birthright citizenship next month. That seems awfully fast for the Supreme Court. Let me see if I can find it while you guys are looking. See if I can find what case you're talking about. Trump versus... It was deleted by... Yeah, for all caps. Monchat, thanks. It doesn't give me the name of the case anywhere in the article, does it? Supreme Court said it will hear oral arguments next month. Wow. All right, maybe I can find it on Scottish blog. Kasich versus Donald Trump. Okay. All right, give me a second to see what's going on here. So this just happened today. I didn't know this happened today. And they're having oral arguments on May. Damn, they're fast. Shit. Damn. Is this a injunction that they're having oral arguments on? Wow. Okay, that's weird. They're having oral arguments on a injunction? Wow. Okay, that's weird as shit. Wow, okay, that's different. What the hell is going on in this case? Let me just put it on screen and read it to you. I'll read Scottish's blog description of what the hell's going on. Yeah, Supreme Court's taking note. I'm surprised that they're apparently getting into the merits this fast at all. But yeah, I'm not surprised they're taking note, but I'm surprised that we're having oral argument on it at all. This is a lot. Let's see what's going on. Okay, according to Scott's blog, justices will hear argument on Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship from the emergency docket. We're having oral arguments on the emergency docket. I'm trying to remember when the last time that happened was. I can't think of any. The Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on May 15th on federal government's request to be allowed to implement President Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, the guarantee of citizenship to almost everyone born in the United States, which dates back to the post-Civil War era. The court left in place orders by 3 federal judges that prohibit the government from enforcing the executive order anywhere in the country until it can hear oral arguments. Wow. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution provides all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state which they reside. It was intended to overrule one of the Supreme Court's most infamous decisions, 1857 ruling in Dred Scott, holding that a black person whose ancestors were brought to the United States and sold as enslaved persons were not entitled to any protection from the federal courts because they were not a U.S. citizen. In 1898, the Supreme Court ruled in the case of Wong Kim Ark, who was born in San Francisco to parents of Chinese descent. The 14th Amendment guarantees U.S. citizenship to virtually anyone born in this country. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Writing for the sixth justice majority, Justice Horace Gray explained that the amendment affirms the ancient and fundamental rule of citizenship by birth within the territory and the allegiance and under protection of the country, including all children born here of resident aliens. Yeah, so it was a resident alien case, which is a little bit different than this situation. So yeah. When campaigning for a second term in office, Trump promised to try to end birthright citizenship. Shortly after his inauguration in January of this year, he made good on that pledge, issuing an executive order indicating that people born in the United States will not be entitled to citizenship if their parents are parents are in this country legally or temporarily. The order was quickly subject to legal challenges across the country. In Seattle, the senior district judge, John Kuhner, in early February, blocked the administration from enforcing the executive order anywhere in the United States, calling birthright citizenship a fundamental constitutional right. So one of these global injunctions, which raises its own set of problems, as we've discussed at some length. A federal appeal court in San Francisco turned down Trump's request to limit the order to the individual plaintiffs. In Maryland, the district judge also temporarily barred the government from enforcing the order there in a lawsuit brought by immigrants' rights groups and several pregnant women. The judge stressed that no court in the country has ever endorsed the president's interpretation. A federal appeal court in Richmond declined to pause part of the ruling. One judge dissented from the decision, calling the government's request a modest motion. And in Massachusetts, United States District Judge Leo Sorkin granted a request from 18 states, District of Columbia, and San Francisco to put Trump's hold on order nationwide, again, with these global injunctions, which raises its own set of problems. He explained that allowing Trump administration to enforce that order in some parts of the country but others would be inadequate because, for example, pregnant women living in one state could cross state lines to give birth in another state. A federal appeal court in Boston rejected the government's request to partially pause the ruling. The Trump administration came to the Supreme Court on March 13th with what then acting Solicitor General Sarah Harris characterized as a modest request. The court should put the 3-judge district orders on hold, allowing the Trump administration to enforce the order except with regards to the individual plaintiffs, the specific members of the organization that are challenging the order who are identifying the complaint, and individuals who live in the states challenging the order. Or at the very least, she continued, the government should be allowed to develop and issue public guidance. So this might just be a case dealing with universal injunctions rather than really the issue at hand, which I'm here for that too. So this is probably going to turn into a decision based on this. This sounds like this is being teed up, not really dealing with the Trump order as such. This sounds like it's being teed up dealing with whether or not district courts can issue universal injunctions or not, which I'm here for that. I'm here for that discussion. Okay, I that sounds like what we're doing. Okay, I mean, that's still a big deal either way. Harris complained that kind of nationwide, sometimes described as universal, sometimes described as global, sometimes described as just pick your favorite adjective there. Issued in the 3 case, transgressed constitutional limits on court power and compromised the executive branch's ability to carry out functions. She exhorted the justices to declare enough is enough before district courts' burgeoning reliance on universal injunctions becomes further entrenched. So basically, we're challenging universal injunctions is what we're doing. Okay, fair enough. It still feels like precipitous. It still feels precipitous by the Supreme Court, although in fairness, this is an issue that's been bugging the Supreme Court for a while now. We've seen judges already issue like dissents in cases basically relating to exactly this. So it's not exactly the first time they've heard about it. So it looks like the Supreme Court might be inclined to potentially do something relating to universal injunctions by district courts. Okay. I mean, fair enough, but that seems like the direction we're going. Okay. The challengers urged justices to leave the three orders in place. Being directed to following the law has been universally understood for over 125 years is not an emergency warranting extraordinary remedy of a stay. This is particularly true, the brief filed by New Jersey and 17 other states added, when the Trump administration does not even attempt to challenge the underlying merits of the district court order. Yeah, so this isn't really a merits thing. This isn't going to the merits. This is going to the scope of the injunction. Well, this is going to be an interesting case. This has the potential. This is the potential to be a ground-shaking case, because obviously universal injunctions aren't just about immigration. They're about all the things. Right? They're about all the things. So in some ways, this is arguably potentially bigger, although I guess it depends on your point of view. It's at least arguably as big as dealing with the fundamental issue of who is a citizen or not. It's actually an interesting one about which one is bigger or not, because this is dealing with what power do district courts have in all the cases. So it's questionable which decision is of bigger impact, but this is the potential to be pretty huge, depending on what the Supreme Court winds up doing here. I don't necessarily relish the role of the Supreme Court here, because any answer to this problem, including the current answer, seems to all have downsides. There doesn't really this seems like there's no answers, only trade-offs. I'd like to think I've considered multiple different possibilities here, and every answer sucks in different levels of sucking, but they're all bad. Not necessarily all equally bad, but every possible answer I can dream up has a problem. So I don't necessarily relish the Supreme Court in trying to figure out which solution they like best. CASA and Asylum Seekers Advocacy Project, the two immigrant rights groups challenging the president's order in Maryland, dispute the administration's broader contention that district courts have issued too many nationwide injunctions that block the Trump administration from being able to carry out its functions. The number of nationwide injunctions issued this year must be understood in proportion to the total number of major policies. They told the justices they've already issued more than 100 executive orders in the second term, far and away the most ever. Well, be that as it may, it's still a problem. Heinlein was right. Service guarantees citizenship. Fair. In a brief unsigned order on Tuesday afternoon, the justices indicated they put off considering Trump's administrative request to pause the order until after the oral arguments. The three cases will be argued together beginning at 10 a.m. The justices allocated 1 hour for oral argument, although probably more than that. A decision would be expected in late June, which is one hell of a turnaround for the Supreme Court. They want to have oral argument in May, and they want to have a decision by the end of June? Holy shit. Holy shit, right? I mean, wow. That's speedy on such a huge issue. They're contemplating having oral argument in May, and they're going to have a decision by the end of June on a decision of major importance. This falls into a pretty significant issue. This is a major deal, and they want to turn around a decision in a month and a half. Holy shit. Okay. Good luck, I guess I say to the Supreme Court on that one. Damn. So they're having oral arguments now, and yeah, that's apparently happening. So that's exciting and fun. We will definitely be tuning in for those oral arguments. Probably not live, not for the least of reasons. I'll be doing Karen Reed and also the transcript, but we'll do it on whatever that Saturday is, I imagine. So whatever Saturday follows the 15th, we'll probably do it on that, and that'll be interesting. Yeah. $2 from Honest Outer. Might it affect Pro 2A and anti-mandate injunctions? Yes, it would impact all the injunctions. It impacts all the things. Yeah, because we're dealing fundamentally with what role the district courts have here. in terms of issuing injunctions with respect to non-parties, with respect to issues outside their jurisdiction, and so forth and so on. I have been sharply critical of these universal injunctions. I've expressed my criticality of these before. And I've said the Supreme Court needs to clarify this. And apparently the Supreme Court heard me and decided we're going to clarify it. And apparently we're going to have a decision. We're going to have a decision in 2 months. Okay. Okay. Noted. All right. Good luck with that. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. And I obviously have, I have no fucking clue here what the Supreme Court's going to do. I don't have a goddamn clue what the Supreme Court's going to do. But apparently we're going to have a decision in 2 months. Okay. That's fun. But it will not be a decision relating to the issue of whether or not these people are citizens or not. That is not the issue they're deciding. The issue they're deciding is only, can the district courts issue, what power do they have? That's the issue they're trying to decide. Holy shit. Holy shit. I can't believe the Supreme Court can do it. I don't think I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do it that fast. I am amazed. I'm amazed that they're doing this. I mean, I would have thought that they would put in a stay and then have oral arguments in October, and then maybe a decision by, maybe next spring, right? That'd be the thing to do. Like, they're going to keep the stay in place. They're going to keep the order in place, have oral arguments in October with an eye for having a decision maybe a year from now. That would have been what I thought they were going to do. And they're going to have a decision in 2 months? How? How are they going to do it practically? Ultimately, I think the Supreme Court says 6-3 citizen stays law of the land with birthright citizen, probably. Although I don't know. I don't know on that issue. I think the other side has good arguments, but who knows? 7-2 large curtailment of universal injunctions. Yeah, I think they're going to do something, but what are they going to do? I don't know. And they want to do it in 2 months? How? How are they going to do it in 2 months? Okay. Maybe they'll have oral argument in May and then decide, you know what we really need to have is oral argument in October. That strikes me as a very plausible solution to this problem. So it wouldn't strike me as odd if they have oral argument in May and then in late June they say, you know what we really need? Re-argument. How about re-argument in October? So that strikes me as a more plausible solution than we're going to have an end of June. I think that's the more plausible answer. They're going to do this and be like, yeah, we can totally get it by June. And then June 30th, they're like, you know what we need? New exciting arguments in October. Let's give it another go. So that's right. And then maybe a decision by next February seems more plausible. Holy shit. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Supreme Court already has a good idea of how they plan to rule. I understand that this is something they've been thinking about. I understand they already have some ideas. But to be able to do it in this time frame, because, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And as I said, the Supreme Court and other courts try to be cautious by definition. They try to be concerned because they're worried about what happens next. And this is a big boy. This is a big boy deal. This is a huge deal. And like, they may have some ideas in their head, but they really want to put pen to paper by the end of June. Okay. We'll see. Yeah, no, that's fine, Ratscats. That's fine. No, it's fine. I had no idea the Supreme Court did this. The Supreme Court is blowing my mind. We're into some really weird territory now, man. Yeah, This is going to be interesting on many, many levels. Yeah. 499 from Allegiant News. They asked the lower court to define the term, but the judge is delaying and issuing more orders requiring the definition for them to comply. I don't know. I can't speak intelligently as to that issue, but apparently the Court of Appeals doesn't want to step in right now. So yeah, the Court of Appeals is like, we're not stepping in right now, so go fight it out with the lower court. So yeah, so fair enough. What is the TLDR? The TLDR is that a huge change is coming. The wind is carrying something dangerous, my friend. It's coming. It's something dangerous. Okay, we'll see. Something dangerous, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the answer fundamentally is here. I don't really know what the answer is. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like, of course, my concern is the future, because any rule that I would want to adopt will necessarily come to bite me back. And I know that, and you should know that, right? So I'm thinking ahead. So it's like, okay, do I want to say that no district court can issue a universal injunction? Do I really want to say that? Because if I say that, then, when President AOC / Harris / Waltz / Buttigieg / Gavin Newsom / insert your favorite Democrat of choice in the sentence, right? When that president comes to pass and, does whatever batshit crazy thing they're going to dream up, right? Like, do I not want the ability to run off to, say, the Eastern District of Texas and get that injunction? Do I not want that ability? Because they're going to do some sort of batshit crazy thing that I want to run off to court for. You know it, and I know it, right? So before I deprive the district courts of their power to do this, it's like I have to think ahead, because any rule comes and bites me back in the ass. So like, okay, what exactly is the solution here to this problem? It's like, how can I stop President AOC / Buttigieg / Walsh / Harris / Clinton / whomever? How can I stop them without just like having the very problem I'm trying to solve? And so like, and I can't really find a really good solution to that. I liked like Good Logic. Joe Neerman proposed a solution. It wasn't his idea, I don't think, but he proposed a solution wherein that they could issue an injunction that would apply to their level, at least statewide, like even if there were districts of more than one state. So you could have the Eastern District of Texas, for example, issue an injunction, but it would only be in Texas. And then hypothetically, even though you won, you could still appeal, which is weird, but you could appeal even if you won. So you could appeal to the Fifth Circuit, and then the Fifth Circuit could issue an injunction, but it would only apply to the Fifth Circuit. And it's like, that's an interesting idea, because in that universe, you have the benefit of potentially multiple different district courts and multiple different courts of appeal potentially coming to different conclusions. And then basically you're just looking for a circuit split. And the Supreme Court likes that, because the Supreme Court likes having 2 or 3 or 4 splits so that they can see like a lot of different, so other people have thought through this and thought of all the ideas so that they can like pick their favorite idea. So I was like, I like that solution. Maybe that's the solution. I don't know if that's what the Supreme Court's going to go for, but I like that idea. I thought it was a pretty clever idea. The only other solution that you could really do that, like, you could say it's a 3-judge district court. I'm not sure that the Supreme Court can mandate that. And even if they could, that would make them the Court of Appeals, and they don't want to do that. So their solution is definitely not going to be, how about a 3-judge district court? They would never do that, because then they're the Court of Appeals, and they don't want that docket on their life. So they're not going to do that. I don't think that they can require the case to be filed in the Court of Appeals in the first instance without the legislation to that effect. I don't think they can do that. So yeah, the idea of like the idea that Joe Neerman floated might be the right solution. It might be something the Supreme Court could actually do, and that like makes their life a little bit better. It does lead to the consequence that you would now have an executive branch decision. You'd have an EO that was legal in some parts of the country and not legal in other parts of the country, but you already have that in federal law anyway, right? We already have that. That's why the Supreme Court does things to reconcile cases. So yes, the federal law is not static. Some things are federal law in one part of the country, but not other parts of the country. That's already our current reality. So like EOs are just treated like that. Like it doesn't really fundamentally change anything. It's like, yes, the EO would be valid in some parts of the country, not other parts of the country. As weird as that might be, we're already there. So let's just do that. With a potential consequence as it relates to birthright citizenship, that it would mean that a person born in one part of the country is a citizen and a person born in another part of the country is not a citizen. But be that as it may, that would be like the most logical way, a logical way. I won't say most logical. It is a logical way to deal with the problem. So maybe they'll go for that solution. Or maybe they have a better idea. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, the Supremes are going to try to fix it before Congress tries to. I think that's at least part of their motivation. I don't think you're wrong. I think the Supreme Court has taken note that the House has passed this act relating to this issue, and I think that they might be inclined to try to get there before Congress and the president gets there. You're not wrong for thinking that. You're not wrong. Let us fix the problem before Congress gets involved. Yeah, you're not wrong. So that is potentially a substantial part of their motivation and their time frame. Yeah, fair. $155 isn't bad for a first score. I'd recommend taking on the LSAT. $155 isn't bad for a first score. I'd really recommend taking a prep course and giving it another go. You can probably improve your score by maybe 10 points at least by a prep course. Give it a shot. It's worth another go at 155. You can give it a shot with a prep course. Yeah, I once had a boss explain to me, you can fix it or I can fix it. It was very effective. Yeah, fair enough. I'm still amazed they're going to try to do it this fast, but I guess they're balling. The Supreme Court can move when they want to, but this is such a huge thing. Such a huge deal. I'm surprised they're going to try to move this fast. Damn. You can just copy paste, right? Or maybe you're on mobile and you can't. Waiting patiently for comments. One of the Grays asked, what happens regarding birthright citizenship being up to the states if someone born in California is deported to Texas? Well, no. I mean no. Yeah. Well, no. Well, first of all, that's weird. Like, okay, so your premise here is you're a citizen in some states but not others, and so we're going to deport you to a different part of the country. I don't know. I don't know. That's some weird. I don't know. My brain hurts. $10 from Damian Keller. I've been looking at what Bell Dodd testified to back in the 50s, what Eisenhower warned of, what happened to JFK and RFK. Nothing is coincidence. Slippery slope leading to today. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. What is past has a tendency of influencing the future. Yeah. Many, many interesting challenges ahead. The birthright citizenship issue presents a lot of problems, practically as well. It presents a lot of problems practically, in addition to legally. But yeah. 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 So but we're not going to solve the birthright citizenship case. We're not going to solve that issue now. So we will figure out birthright citizenship another day. Thank God. We're not going to figure that out today. At best, we're going to figure out the issue of injunctions, possibly with some musings in passing relating to birthright citizenship, probably mostly from the more liberal bench. They're going to have some musings in passing relating to birthright citizenship issues. Probably not from the conservative bench, but another problem for another day. All right, I'm going to sign off for now before my brain hurts anymore. Thank you for joining me for the stream, and thank you for the super chats. $100 in super chats isn't bad for me. I appreciate that. That was very kind of you all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Despite controversial topics, we definitely were on the controversial topics today between Trump, having issues with the illegal immigration issue and having issues relating to birthright citizenship. It's like how many things can we put on our punch card today in terms of controversial issues? It was a lot. Isn't there a stupid body cam thing I could watch? Can't I just watch someone get tased or something for being a dick bag, and we can all laugh at the dick bag so I don't have to think very hard? What I really need is a body cam footage. What I need is some body cam footage of someone being pulled over and then behaving like a dick and then getting tased and like flopping all around on the ground. Does anyone have a body cam footage like that? Because I like to laugh at the stupid for a while. Does anyone have that video? I need that video in my life right about now, so I can just be like, lol. Maybe later. Maybe later we'll find the case. Oh man, yeah, we need it. Let's see if we can find a body cam. Let's do it in this stream. I feel like this stream needs a cleanser. Let's see if we can find some stupid body cam footage, and let's see if we can, see if we can just file some stupid. Is there anything on Blue Code Cam that we can react to that's just some stupid? Let's see what we got. How one cop ended a citywide manhunt in 60 seconds. How 12 years of chaos ended in 60 seconds. Let's see. What if I just sort it by popular? Here's why you shouldn't run from the cops. 19-year-old impaired driver crashes into a police officer. That's exciting. How teens pulled off a massive heist of 9 luxury cars. Traffic stop turns up $100,000 worth of cocaine. 4 teens get busted after crazy police chase. Woman goes nuts after police officers arrest her boyfriend. "19-year-old drunk tries to impress his girlfriend, gets a driving under the influence." Let's react to like one of the more popular ones. Let's react to, how about 19-year-old driver crashes into police officer? That sounds like a nice bit of stupid. Let's watch 19-year-old crashes into police officer. That has 20 million views. It's a pile of stupid. Let's do that. Let's just react to the pile of stupid and laugh at the stupid. That sounds like fun. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look right. That's not how the car is supposed to look. Something has gone wrong. All right, let's react and laugh at the stupid.
Dude, stop moving. Dude, park the car, man. Park the car. On May the 3rd, 2021, this officer is crossing an intersection when a vehicle failed to stop for a red light.
The driver was arrested on several charges, including operating under the influence, causing injury. Okay. It was determined the driver was doing 45 at the time of the collision. The officer was taken to a hospital with minor injuries.
How's it going? Dude, you just blew.
How's it going? How's it going? Well, I can't help noticing a traffic light is currently collapsed on your car. So it's not going great.
The red, man.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it.
84 negative. Are you good?
Me? Yeah, I'm good.
Are you hurt?
I just got some glass in there. I didn't know. I was paying attention to the right.
Are you hurt, man?
Is my car fucked?
I mean, you got some good damage here, man. Why don't you guys step out of the car?
That sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea.
Dude, stop moving. Stop moving. Dude, park the car, man.
I guess the officer should have been clearer in his instruction when he said step out of the car. He should have been clearer by saying park the car. I didn't know that we needed to give that instruction, but apparently we did. Oh well.
Okay, your vehicle's still moving, man. Hit your parking brake up.
You know, I am not an expert on signs of DUI, but I'm pretty sure this guy is drunk and or high. Just some subtle clues in his eyes.
Can you step out, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, let's get you guys out of here. Come on.
Fuck.
Step over here with me. Step over here.
Step over here.
Do you have an ID on you, man?
ID, I think it's in my car.
Why don't you sit down? It's good enough to take a picture of? Yeah, please.
I mean, I know the officer's still going to do his due diligence, but I feel like any judge at this point would be like, yeah, I'm going to sign off on that warrant. Feel like there might be probable cause here. Just saying.
Sorry about that, man. I was in my place. I was running to my place. I had a shit so fucking bad. I think I shit my pants, to be honest with you.
Okay. I mean, you're just not paying attention?
I was not paying attention at all.
Okay. You had anything to smoke tonight?
Me?
Anything to drink?
No. I smoked a joint like 3 days ago.
Uh-huh.
That was it. I smoked inside in my car.
Uh-huh. He says he hasn't had anything to smoke or drink. Yeah, not feeling that one there, guy. No, pretty sure you have.
But no, I'm not under the influence of anything.
Yeah. I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, man. I think I'm good. Let's shake now. What's your name, man? Obviously.
Jacob Slovak.
What is it?
Jacob Slovak, my license in my door.
I mean, he's right by a Subway. That's a good place to get some munchies when you're drunk. I mean, the officers just need to take him into the Subway, get himself a $5 footlong, and then they can take him to jail. You know? Get that meatball marinara, man. You've earned it.
You want to snag that? Yeah. You want to sit down? Yeah. Take me down.
Fuck. I just bought that car too.
Yeah.
You think it's total?
Yeah, it doesn't look very good, man.
Yeah,
I think my squad car could be totaled.
Yeah.
I think my squad car could be totaled.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you have an ID on you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking one look at your car here, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably total. That sounds about right.
You guys got a chain or something? It's cold as shit.
Do we have a what?
A chain.
No.
It's cold as shit.
I can.
4 weeks ago.
Yeah, literally.
I did not even see the red light and fucking...
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Is your car okay?
Doesn't look good, man.
You got that brush guard though, so that helps a little bit.
You want to actually get up and move over here, man? So you're not blocking this traffic.
Yep.
Please don't tell me you're going to have him do roadside sobriety testing. Are you really going to have this? Please tell me you're not going to have this guy try to walk a line or lift his leg or put his... Please tell me you're not going to do this. Do we really need to go through this? Do we have a breathalyzer? Can we just skip to the... Can we skip a couple steps? I'm pretty sure the judge will say it's okay. I mean... All right, fine. We're fine. We'll do it the hard way. That's fine.
Sitting in the front. There's a what? A ball in the front. Good? My leg kind of hurts. It's a little shaky, but my leg hurts? A little bit, yeah. Okay. So you got to from what? Just from getting hit? Yeah. I think I might have banged it on the console. Okay. For your car? Yeah. Got one thing. What happened? I had green light coming through. I looked to my right and it just speeds right through it. Which way were you were turning? I was coming straight. He was coming. And he kind of turned off and hit me in the...
You guys think it's totaled or no?
It's probably totaled. It's probably totaled.
I'd say it's probably totaled.
I mean, he's still wrong.
You guys aren't hurt, right?
No, I'm not
Just
hurt.
you two in the car?
I had some fucking glass in my mouth, but...
Okay.
Am I gonna have to tow you there?
We will have to tow it, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't drive it back to my place. It's like...
I mean, once again, guys, I'm not necessarily a mechanic or anything, but I don't believe that car is in a safe condition to be driven. Pretty sure we're going to have to tow that car. Pretty sure we're not going to allow you to drive that one home. Not for at least the reasons that we're pretty sure you can't drive. Also, the car itself can't drive. So basically, you're 0 for 2 at this point.
3 down block. Literally 3 block. It's like, yeah, it's right on 8th and State.
No, man, look at it. It's not going to drive. You have a pole on top of it.
Well, if we move the pole,
No, it can't be drove.
so where's it going to go to?
Well, who do you want to tow it? You can pick, or we can pick the wrecker of the week.
Record of the week.
Yeah, just whoever the tow truck is.
Done.
Notified street department already?
Don, I don't know. I went through Don towing last night. I still got a lot of money right now. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Someone else, or?
I could have a buddy come pick it up with a truck.
So were you driving?
Yeah, I was driving.
Okay, you're not hurt?
No, I'm not
What
hurt.
happened? What way were you going?
Which way was I going? I was going this way.
Which way?
I don't remember.
You were taking a right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think I might have been like going like 30, and I didn't see it like slow down, you know?
Do you have a red light?
Did I? I do not recall.
I believe you.
You don't remember, or what?
I honestly, it's just so fast. You know what
I believe
mean?
you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I just bought that car fucking 3 weeks ago.
Your name's Jacob?
Yep, Jacob.
I mean, you know, once you take it off the lot, that depreciation can hit you real fast, man. 3 weeks. Yeah, man. Yeah. Car depreciated like a rock.
What's a good phone number for you? You're not hurt? You're a passenger? Do you remember what happened?
I was looking at my phone at the time, so like I knew we were coming around the corner here to take a right, and that's...
I think I was just going a little bit too fast, you know?
He's gonna hit me for sure. So I kind of angle my squad, and he kind of angles towards like going west, and it strikes my front passenger rear well, and it goes into the pole. Okay. So, all right.
You can sit down?
Yeah, I'll take a seat.
What did you say about it?
Didn't see the red light. Said he had to go to the bathroom really bad.
Okay. Any signs of intoxication that you could get?
He seems really off. He
Yep.
said he saw a bong in the car,
Yep.
but he said he hadn't smoked in 3 days. I
Uh-huh.
don't know how much of the investigation I do for this.
Yeah, not much. Okay. You guys aren't hurt.
No, I'm not hurt.
And you don't care who tows it?
Tows it?
You don't care what company? We usually just call, like, they rotate for the weeks, but if you want a specific one, we can call them.
They're different price.
They're usually all pretty similar.
How much will it cost?
I don't
Who
know.
knows?
Really don't know what to ask the tow guy.
You care if I want to go take a look at it real quick?
Yeah, you can just don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything?
Yeah, actually, wait till we, because we still have traffic coming in out here. I don't want you to get ran over.
Right.
I'll let you look at it before we're done, though, okay?
I don't know why we want to go look at the car. I'm not sure what we're looking at for. I'm pretty sure the car needs to be towed. Pretty confident on that one.
What's all wrong with it? 'Cause I said
It's currently got a stoplight on the roof. Yeah.
whole fucking fresh build on it.
Really?
Bunch of new parts and shit.
Yeah, it's beat up.
It's also only 9 p.m. And that's also like, that's Zulu time, right? So it's probably, yeah, because -5, right? That's probably Zulu time. So it's probably only, yeah, I'm not actually sure what time it is in this shot. Is it only 9 p.m. or is it later than that? I'm actually not sure. Okay. It's, in any event, it feels like a little early in the night for whatever's happening. You think this is 2 a.m. local time? It might be 2 a.m. local time. Okay, fair enough. Zulu means local? Does it really? I thought Zulu was basically the same as GMT. Does Zulu mean local? Have I been using the word Zulu wrong all this time? Okay. Yeah, I thought Zulu was UTC. Yeah, Zulu. Yeah, Zulu means GMT. That's what I thought. Yeah. Don't confuse me. Now, for those of you, now we'll see how good you are on your times. Here's a good one. Someone in chat will see if you know this one. What is the difference between, and you can't Google. If you Google, you're cheating. So don't cheat. What is the difference between GMT and UTC? Does anyone know? Because I know the answer to this question. Let's see if anyone else knows. No Googling. That's cheating.
Hey, Alex. You said it was a ball movie?
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, I think they just bought it at the smoke shop. Hey, Jake, come here. Come over here.
More here.
Yeah. Okay, so I want you to be honest with me. You smoked some weed today.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, pretty recently.
Very recently?
Yeah.
Probably like 2 hours ago.
Yep, this is about right.
How much?
How much?
So as memory serves, GMT is based off of like the rotation of the Earth, and UTC is based off of the atomic clock. And they can have a discrepancy of up to a second. And that's where you get the idea of leap seconds that come in, if you've ever heard of a leap second, because they're measuring slightly different. Like one's based off of like the Earth's rotation, it's based off like an astronomical measurement, and the UTC is based off the atomic clock. And so they can be slightly off of each other by up to a second. And then every once in a while, you have to have a leap second to bring them back into uniformity. So it's a very, very anal technical difference between different ways of measuring time. I was glad I was here to help with this wonderful information.
Like, do you feel pretty high? Because you seem pretty high.
No, I'm not high.
You don't feel high?
No.
I see there's a bong in the car.
Yeah, I just bought it from the one place.
Okay.
Smokes for us on South Side.
Okay. So when did you smoke? 2 hours ago, you said?
2 hours ago, yeah.
At your house or where?
In my house, just at a buddy's.
At a buddy's?
Yeah.
Like south side, north side?
South side.
Okay.
Down to the South Side smokes about new bong.
How much did you smoke? Like, be honest.
I haven't even smoked that new piece in there.
How much did you smoke 2 hours ago?
Oh, like a couple one hitters.
A couple one hitters? Is that normal or?
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay. Do you have anything on you?
No, you can search my pockets if you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just hold on to that.
And I got my wallet right here.
Is that just a vape?
Yeah, it's
See
a
that?
vape.
Is this a weed vape?
Yep. No, not a weed vape.
It might be a weed vape.
And all that. You pull this thing out right here.
Pull it up.
Is he going? What are we doing?
Hey, CJ, it's CJ. Here. You can throw the juice in this to do if you want to. You can go ahead and do whatever type of test you have to do on it, though.
Okay. But you can put it back in your pocket.
Alright.
I'm gonna run you through some tests to make sure you're gonna be driving. Since you've been smoking weed, you got in an accident, okay?
Okay.
Is that pretty fair?
That's hurt,
So
man.
you don't really remember what happened, or because you weren't looking, or because you were going too fast, or like kind of walk me through
I
what
feel like I was just going too fast, to be honest. I got a new car and
how fast do you think you were going?
probably like 10 over the speed limit.
So like 35?
Yeah, 35.
And you were coming this way from the marsh, from like Menards.
Yeah.
You were taking it right here to go home.
Yep.
Okay. And you didn't see that you had a red light or not?
Did I see if I had a red light or not? No.
Okay. So you smoked 2 hours ago, some one hitters.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Can you stand with your heels and toes touching?
There's not a chance in this world.
Like me.
Like
And
this.
put your hands at your side.
Hands on my side. Oh.
Yeah,
Try again, just like me.
that's a fail.
Bad balance, my bad.
Do you have any physical issues?
Physical issues? Yeah, my knee's a little fucked up from the
Like, do you have a physical injury, or do you it's just sore?
It's just sore.
Okay. Do you have any problems with your eyes?
Eyes? Yeah, I had eye surgery not too long ago.
When?
Because I had lazy eyes or whatever. So they like brought them back.
When did you have eye surgery?
Eye surgery like a couple years ago.
Okay. But your eyes are fine now?
Yeah, my eyes are
You
fine.
wearing contacts?
Contacts? No. I'm supposed to be. But
Okay.
Wait a second, you're driving without your corrective lenses too? On top of everything else? Neat. So you're blind and drunk. Exciting.
All right. Put your feet like mine, all the way touching.
here's
There you go. And then put your hands at your side. All the way, no, down at your side. Like
all
this.
down my side.
Yep. Can you see my finger?
Yep.
I want you to follow my finger with your eyes and your eyes only, and don't move your head. You understand, Jake?
Yep.
I can't see his eyes.
Keep watching my finger. Just track it with your eyes.
I can't see his eyes, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's going
Keep
well.
watching my finger.
No, it's your face. Sorry, I've never done this.
It's okay.
before.
Just like you're watching it. Everywhere my finger goes, your eyes go. Ready?
Yeah.
Are you not able to do this?
Me?
You're
No.
not doing it. You're like looking past it for it. Just like if you were to watch like a baseball. You watch my finger. You got to keep your eyes right on the tip of my
Right.
finger.
If you
Okay?
guys think I'm drunk or something, I can do a
No, this is
breathalyzer.
just a test we have to do.
Oh,
I got
okay.
and I got you. I need you to follow my finger. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can see enough of his eye movement when the officer's not blocking my shot. I can see enough of his eye movement. I'm like, yeah, not really.
Just keep following it.
Yeah, that's not a pass.
All right, don't move your head though. Ready? Tilt your chin down a little. Okay, just watch my finger.
All right, sorry, my
Keep watching it. Keep watching it. Can you see it way out here?
Yep.
You're not looking at my finger though. You're looking like at my wrist.
Sorry.
Tip of my finger right here.
Tip your finger, all right.
Don't look away from it.
Yeah.
It's better.
It's better, marginally. It's not good.
Watching it. Okay, stand normal.
Stand over?
Yep. All right. Give me one more chance to be honest with me.
All right.
You're on something else. You're on something else.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's Xanax.
Yep.
Oh, he took a Xanax too. Okay, that explains a lot. Someone else in chat earlier said they thought it was Xanax. So whoever said that in chat, I guess you get a bonus point for correctly saying it was Xanax. Good job.
No, you took that way more recent than yesterday.
More recently yesterday?
Just be honest with me. Like, be straight so I can get this solved. But I can tell you're not normal. Like,
I'll take a half. I took a half of one.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Probably
when you smoked 2 hours ago or what?
Yeah, when I smoked 2 hours
You took
ago.
a half of Xanny?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like you took a lot more than a half, to be honest, man. It's messing you up pretty good.
I took a half. I don't know. These things fucked me up.
Yeah.
I just got so much shit going through my mind,
Yeah.
and it's just...
Okay. All right, just hang tight with this guy really quick, okay? Don't go anywhere. Just hold on.
Once again, I'm pretty sure you have your prima facie for your arrest for driving under the influence. I don't know how much evidence we need. I think we're good.
Hey, Sarge.
Yeah.
Did you get pictures?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got pictures of the inside. Yeah.
Okay. There's not. He's on Xanax too. I got the stag was like crazy.
Yeah.
Take your hands out of your pockets. I want you to imagine there's a straight line in front of you.
Okay.
All right, Jake. I want your.
You want him to imagine a straight line? Do you think he's capable of imagining a straight line in his mind? I'm not sure he can do that, let alone walk said imaginary straight line. You think he can project a straight line in his mind? I don't know, man.
Foot on that line, and then I want your right foot in front of your left foot, heel to toe, and I want you to stand like that.
Okay.
Just like that. Don't move until I tell you. Understand?
Okay.
So when I say go, Jake, I want you to take 9 heel to toe steps down.
I'm sure this is going to go great.
Turn around and take 9 heel to toe steps back. Okay?
Okay.
Watch me. I'll demonstrate. You're gonna go just like this. 1, 2, 3. All the way to 9. When you get to 9, you keep your front foot down and do a series of small steps.
Right.
And you turn around, do 9 back. 1, 2, 3, and all the way to 9, okay?
Alright.
While you're doing this test, Jake, hey, look at me. While you're doing this test, I want you to keep your hands down at your side.
Okay.
Count your feet, count your steps out loud.
Alright.
Okay? Keep watching your feet, and don't stop walking till you've completed the test.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yep, I
Do you
understand.
have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, get back in the starting position first. Right foot in front.
Right foot in front.
Right foot in front of your left.
Do you know which one is your right?
Right foot in front. Put your right foot in front first. Okay,
There you
now
go.
You can begin if you understand.
Alright. Mississippi.
No. We failed on one. He didn't say to say Mississippi. No. He's doing better than I expected. Well, no. No.
Yep, just like I explained.
Then 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi.
I've seen worse.
Am I going to jail for this?
Yes.
I don't know right now.
Yeah.
But no, probably not.
I'm quite confident you're going to jail for this. I am quite confident you're going to jail.
Okay, heels and toes touching.
Heels and toes touching.
Hands down at your side. So for this one, I want you to lift up one of your feet 6 inches off the ground with your toe pointed out and just hold it there 1001, 1002, and just hold it there and keep counting until I say stop. Okay, watch, I'll demonstrate. You can pick whatever foot. You're gonna go like this. 1001, 1002, 1003. Hold on. Okay, see how my foot is?
Yeah, like this?
Yep, and you're gonna keep doing that until I tell you to stop, okay? While you're doing this test, hold on. I want your hands down at your side. I want you to look at your foot, count out loud, and don't stop until you've completed the test. You understand?
Yeah, I'm not that good about.
That's okay. Do you have any questions on how to do it?
No, I got it.
You got it? Okay, you can begin then.
Alright.
No.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Oh, shit.
Keep going.
Yeah.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Or 1 Mississippi. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi.
Okay, you can stop.
Oh no, I can't do that.
That's okay.
I noticed.
You know your ABCs?
ABCs, yep. ABCs.
I know my ABCs forward and backwards. Can he do the alphabet? Let's find out.
D, D,
Hold on. You in school?
Me?
Yeah.
Am I in school? No, I got my diesel mechanic credits, working in Caledonia, Minnesota, farming.
You graduated from high school?
Yep, graduated right from
So you know your ABCs?
ABCs, yep.
Can you say them to me A to Z, just normal without singing them?
Yep. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Hey, he actually got a pass. He got a pass. I'm impressed. Way to go.
Can you count fine?
Fine, yep.
Can you count backwards from 88 to 73 for me?
88 to 73?
Yep.
Yep, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71.
Okay.
He's good at counting backwards too. I give the guy credit, man. He knows his alphabet and he can count backwards. I'm impressed. Nice.
All right, cure of it, PBT. One more. So this one, heels and toes touching again. This is the last one, okay? Hands down at your side,
Yep,
out of your pockets.
sorry.
So when I say go, I want you to tilt your head all the way back. Don't go until I say it though. Tilt your head all the way back, close your eyes, and estimate the passage at 30 seconds. Okay?
Estimate the pass.
Estimate the passage at 30 seconds.
Like what happened right here?
Well, I mean, all you have to do is sing the Jeopardy song in your head. I know that he doesn't know that, but like, if you just want to estimate 30 seconds, just sing the Jeopardy song in your head and you're there. You know, so if it ever comes up, and if you need a minute, if you need to count a minute, just sing it twice. So I'm here to help.
Estimate 30 seconds. Passing.
Estimate 30 seconds.
Passing. And when you feel 30 seconds has passed, I want you to open your eyes and say stop. Okay, so watch me. You're gonna go just like this. You're gonna tilt your head all the way back, close your eyes, and then estimate 30 seconds, okay?
Alright.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, begin.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Tilt your head all the way back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You're counting a little fast.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Is this supposed to go 30?
Yes, 30 seconds was the goal.
That's okay though. We can stop. I'm gonna have you blow on this. You haven't been drinking, right?
No, I haven't been drinking.
Uh-huh. Bullshit.
If you have any alcohol in your system, okay?
Right.
All right, big breath.
Anyone want to guess what the number is before the cop tells us? I'm not sure if he's going to tell us the number, but anyone want to take a guess at the number in chat? See what number we get? All right, let's see.
Zeros. You can take that tube off. Pull it.
Would it come out as
Zeros.
Zeros.
Did you?
Zero. Wow. 0. Amazing. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, fair enough, I guess. Damn. So he's not drunk. He's just high as shit. Wow.
Did I eat today? No, I didn't eat.
You haven't eaten any food?
No,
Did you sleep at all?
Sleep at all?
When did you sleep? When did you sleep last night?
I went to bed around 8 o'clock.
Last night?
Yeah.
What time did you get up?
Probably around 10 or 11. And then I was sitting at Koichi eating some donuts and I just passed out.
Okay. You don't take any prescription pills for anything?
No. I used to buy Xanax off someone every once in a while when I'm going through a hard time, you know. So many thoughts going through my head, you know, and so much bullshit, you know. It's just trying to block it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Come over here to the squad with me.
Alright.
Oh, and by the way, not for nothing, by the way, this is exactly why just because you blow zero doesn't mean you can't be arrested for DUI. Because I've seen people make this mistake before. In other streams, I've seen them make this mistake before, where they're like talking about some case and someone blows zero. And it's like, why was he arrested for DUI? If you blew zero, because you might be under the influence of something else, right? So it doesn't have to be alcohol, right? It's most commonly alcohol, but yeah, blowing zero does not mean you weren't DUI. So this would be an example of why, just in case you, yeah.
Anybody in town that's sober?
Anybody in town that's sober?
That's sober.
Yeah.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. So you're gonna be placed under arrest for OWI right now. Okay?
OWI?
Yep. And then we got some testing and some paperwork, and then if all goes cooperatively, you might be able to go home. Okay?
Okay.
So I gotta put you in cuffs, all right?
One more time.
We probably aren't gonna hit that anymore, but this won't take too long, okay?
Yeah, Tony, the cop said I wasn't going to jail. I was like, you're definitely going to jail.
Call it. It's Jake. Nothing on you, Jake?
Go ahead, search my pockets.
Where's my squad right there? He's
How
gonna-
long am I going to go to jail?
You might not even go to jail. We just gotta do some paperwork. Can you put him in my squad, Connor?
Yeah.
I gotta go ahead. Oops, this is gonna be...
This isn't quite satisfying my itch, though. I mean, this is fun and a nice diversion, but I still really want to see. I just really want to see a guy being completely out of control. I want to see the taser deployed, and I want to see the guy doing all flappy starfish on the ground. That's the body cam I really want to see. Does anyone have taser flappy starfish on the cement somewhere? Does anyone have that video? Because that's what I really am craving, and this is not quite scratching my itch right now. I have to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to be honest with you guys.
We appreciate that. I'll try to get you home if all goes well.
Alright.
Hold on, let me put my light open.
Honestly, takes a long part away in life, you know what
Yeah,
I
it
mean?
does. All right, have a seat. I got some stuff to do and then we'll get going, okay?
Alright.
You okay to sit here for a minute? It's been pretty busy, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No worries. We'll get it sorted out here. Two of them.
What, running the red light?
Yep.
What's the other one?
OWI causing injury.
Huh?
OWI causing injury. Operating while impaired causing an injury.
Impaired causing an injury?
Yep. So hey, once we're done with this, would you be willing to do some more tests like we did on the sidewalk?
Sidewalk, yeah.
More tests like that?
Yep.
You'd be okay with doing a few more of those?
Yep. Sure can.
Okay. Hop on out.
We're doing more tests? Why? Why are we doing more tests now? Why are we doing more tests? Just take him to the police station, get your blood draw. Why are we doing more tests? I am confused.
I already got it off you here. Just step your feet out.
Ooh, sure. County's going.
All right.
Okay, I guess we don't get to see testing part 2.
Hold on. Stay right there.
You gotta hold on to my arm. There you go.
I just gotta lock my car up. Nobody screws with it, you know?
Alright. Sorry about this, guys.
It'll be alright, man.
I didn't mean to hit your patrol car, bro.
It wasn't mine. Sit on this bench.
Like it was mine. It didn't matter. I can get my phone real quick.
They'll work it out once we get there, alright?
What?
They'll come in and get the cuffs off. You just gotta wait a minute.
Alright.
Well, we out here, we running from the cops right now. We going doing 100 fucking 120. You already know.
Did he film himself as he was driving drunk or driving? Did he film himself? Is that what we're watching right now? What the hell? All right.
Hey, yo, fuck 12. Fuck 12, bro.
Okay, that was exciting and fun. Now, Tony, my mod, has come to the rescue and has promised me starfish. So we're gonna watch this for 5 minutes. Man get tased at Columbia Zoo after refusing to follow officer's orders. Cool. Let's watch this, and then we're gonna call the stream an end.
What are you doing? Pull over! Stop! What are you doing? I'm trying to get my wife and kid. Okay, and you think that trying to kill somebody is the way to do that? Give me your driver's license. Give me your driver's license. I'm asking for your driver's license.
Yeah, that's not going to end well. That's definitely not ending well. I'm going to revel in this guy. Just fair warning, I am going to absolutely revel in this guy getting tased and starfishing all over the ground. So I'm going to be gleeful about it. So just fair warning. He deserves it. It's coming. Let's go.
I asked. He said he's going to the zoo. Oh my God. Hey. Hey, watch out. Don't let him kill somebody. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hey, man, get out of here. Go ahead. Go up. Here, stop this guy.
What's happening now? He turned around for some reason and came back towards them? What the fuck? Okay, so now he is deliberately trying to hit the officers. So now we've got attempted murder. That's exciting. I'm sure this is going to end well.
125. We just had somebody about hit us multiple times out here. Start me another car.
Starfish, 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 starfish. Yeah, yeah. Eat dirt, you asshole. Eat dirt. Eat dirt, fuck face.
What is wrong with you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. It's ridiculous. absolutely ridiculous. You almost hit a trooper.
I'm sorry.
125, we have him in custody. I have a taser used. Start me a supervisor.
It's just about my wife and kids. Who
No.
are me.
And
I
give me a
am her.
medic.
And it's just about her. And I love you guys, and I know you don't mean to hurt me. Okay?
Well, I wish we could say the same for you, because you seem to deliberately turn around, deliberately wait for the police officers, and once they were in your way, then drive off. So I have suspicion of attempted murder on a police officer. That's my probable cause. So I don't think your wife and kids are the biggest problem right now, sir, with all due respect.
In custody.
I just need for you guys to help me up.
Well, you're under arrest.
You
You're going to
stand
jail. You have anything on you?
No, nothing at all. Just in this.
Why did you not listen to us?
Because it wasn't about me, it was about my wife and kids.
Guess what? Now it's about you.
Okay.
It's
Where's
very
your ID at,
it's
man?
very much about you.
Did you already search it?
Listen,
No.
just stand me up. I will not hurt you.
Well, you're not moving right now. We've got a medic coming. You're going to jail.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You are.
No, it's Nirvana, and I'm hurt.
Yeah, I'm not going to jail. Dude, man. Dude, you're going to jail. Dude, they have probable cause for attempted murder at this point. You have some serious problems, sir. You're very much going to jail, sir. Yeah, we've got problems out the ass.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I swear. I just stuttered right there on
What's
accident.
going on with your wife and kids?
I'm trying to get to them. I just need to communicate.
Okay, well, that's not happening.
Well, it is though, because you're gonna help me, and I love you, and it's not about you now. There's a time for that.
Uh-huh.
Right now, I just needed to get back
Let's
to
sit him
you.
up.
Okay. Okay.
Sit up.
Okay. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm gonna go sit over here.
Okay. That's fine too. Just can I just feel my hands real quick? Just really quick. I know you guys need this.
All right. Let's bring him over here to the curb and set him down. Sit down.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yes. Just can I feel my hand? It's got to be like a movie, okay? So they need to understand that it's okay and I love you. Just take the cuffs off.
Take the cuffs off me, he says. Take the cuffs off me. Absolutely not, sir. Not a chance in this world. Holy shit.
125. Clear the channel. Just as long as we got a supervisor and at least another car coming in a medic.
873, go ahead.
Oh, that's the end of the video. That's disappointing. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah. So apparently, hold on. Apparently they charged him with, hold on. They charged him with, at least at the time this was posted, felony failure to comply, misdemeanor charge of inducing panic and driving under the influence. He was given $25,000 bond. That's amazing. I would have charged him with attempted murder. But I'm a dick, I guess. But I have my prima facie for attempted murder. So I would have charged him with attempted murder and see how it turns out. Probably not well. But yeah, maybe I'm a dick. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. I've had enough fun for the moment. And so that's been exciting and fun. Thank you for joining us for this incredibly interesting, long-running stream on a variety of topics and stuff. It's been fun. Thank you very much for being here and joining me. I'll see you guys later. I've been on Civil Law. Till later, my friends. For now, cheers and goodbye.